golfer, how do I become an Olympian?
Well, everyone has to qualify to become an Olympian, and that'll be determined by NGB Golf, which is National Governing Body of Golf, a new organization that has been set up since golf's been chosen to be an Olympic sport. And they will work with the PGA and people around Europe, etc., and determine a process for the golfers to become Olympians. And it'll include something like the top 15 golfers in the world, as well as some qualifying event to add more golfers. I think the big question is going to be, can amateurs actually try and qualify with the professionals? The answer is probably they should, but whether they will be allowed to or not, I'm not certain, and I don't think anybody knows that answer right now.
So if I'm Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson, I don't automatically become a Olympian?
Not yet. I think what will happen is, hopefully they'll be in the top 10 or 15 players in the world in 2 years from now when they make that rule or that qualification process, and then they'll become Olympians. Everybody on the professional tour is going to be a wannabe Olympian.
Has there ever been a special exemption, where like a sponsor's exemption, that so-and-so is an Olympian just because we want him to be?
Actually, the NGB, National Governing Body of Golf, could probably make exemptions. I know they could, as a matter of fact. You can set your own rules, in other words, on how to qualify. But they try and make it all-inclusive, and on the international level, they try and make it all-inclusive, and they try and make it fair to everybody.
And national governing body of each country, can they choose different criteria, or are they all the same and governed by the IOC?
No, they can choose their own criteria of how to select golfers. They're supposed to be inclusive, they're supposed to be fair to everyone.
So who do you think makes the Olympic golf tournament?
I'll answer that this way. I was an Olympic coach in 1976 in the sport of team handball, the sport I played in '72. The hardest decision I had to make as a coach was not during the games. It was cutting who was not going to make the team at the end. We selected 16 guys. We had 18 guys trying out. They were all my good friends, and I had to cut 2. So who's going to make it? I don't know who's going to make it, but there are going to be some disappointed golfers when they're not chosen to be 2016 Olympians.
So even if they make the Olympic team, they don't necessarily make the traveling team that will compete in Rio?
They'll all travel to Rio and be competitors. Some of them will, in most sports, there are always some athletes that don't play at all. They're there because they take care of injury situations, and they don't get to play, but they're there, and they are Olympians, by the way. Yeah. The great thing about being an Olympian is, as the saying goes, once you're an Olympian, you're always an Olympian. You never have been an Olympian, but you always are an Olympian. It's a very interesting perspective as to look into an Olympian background. Once an Olympian, always an Olympian. It's a very proud thing for all of us to say. Be on top of your game at the right time. That's how Olympians train. You see that in Michael Phelps, you see that in everybody as they move forward. They prepare for the day of the event. So you get a one-time deal. It's just like golf. They'll get 2 or 3 days deal. You got to be at the top of your game. I mean, it's just like winning a golf tournament, I think. The best golfer that week wins. So to be an Olympian and a gold medalist or a silver medalist or whatever, you better have your game in shape at the right time. You can't have an off day. I think what the general public should know is that there's a process to become an Olympian, and that'll be determined by the NGB. How that process works out, I don't know. I've heard they're going to take the top 15 players in the world based on the rankings at the time, plus some kind of a qualification process in each country. And let's not forget, I'm a male. The females also play in the Olympics, and they're going to have the same situation as the men golfers. But I'll assure you, it's going to be a really exciting time in golf. I think, by the way, the biggest sport in the Olympics in Brazil, well, there's always big ones, but golf is going to be right up there on top. It'll be number 1, 2, 3, along with swimming, track and field. Basketball in Brazil is big, but golf is going to be just as big. Probably bigger in the world than the other sports, and not necessarily in Brazil, because it's such a worldwide sport.